All right, well, welcome back. So in this section, we are going to talk about view components Android comes with. So namely, we're going to talk about text view, buttons, edit text, and many more. Now, let's talk about text views. The first thing we're going to do, obviously, we're going to go and create a new project. If you still have the other project, welcome to Android project we've been working on open, just close it, and then Android Studio will give you this. If not, just go ahead and just open up your Android Studio. So once we're here, just go to Start New Android Studio Project. Click on that. We're going to call this My Text View. And we're going to call it something here. We're going to say My Text View. You can name whatever you like. Next. We'll keep it at 4.0. Next. I'm going to choose the blank activity. Next. And we're going to leave everything the way it is there and click Finish. Android Studio will go ahead and create us a brand new project. So it's building everything, and we have our project. And you may get this error here. Just takes a little while. Just go here and change to Android 4.0. Go ahead and get our different viewer here. It takes a little while, and there it is. And there's one thing I haven't mentioned. So as you can see here, it doesn't really look like a phone. It just looks like the screenshot, right? I prefer it this way, but if you don't like it, you can just go ahead here and say include device frame. If you click that, and it should include our device frame here. But I just like to have just the screenshot of it instead of the device frame. So you do whatever you like. Go back here. I'm going to put it back. There we go. Now let's talk about text views and how to use them. So text views allow us to show text on the screen. So this is a text view here. Okay. Now we use text view class to create and add text to be displayed, as you can see here. Now how do we create our own? So let's go ahead and right click this one here, and we want to delete it. Go like this, and let's close this one down so I have more space. Okay, so as you can see, we have our app, we have all our folders and files that we need, and our activity main.xml, that's what we see here, that's our view. And if we go to our Java, we can see here, this is our main activity code. This is Java code. Alright, so the first thing we do to create our own text view, we can either go ahead here, widgets, and you can see you've got plain text view, you've got large, you've got all of these different ones. Let's go and get this first one here and drag and drop. Let's put it in the middle of the screen here. So just click out of that if you get that issue. Perfect. Now let's put it back here. There it is. Okay, so we got our text here. It says new text. If you click on it, obviously you go back to here. It opens up and you can see you can change things here, as we've talked about. However, we're going to go back to text, so we're going to change things in our text file, in our XML file. Alright, so we have our text view here with all of our properties. So it's got a layout width to wrap content, so that means it's just going to be flexible depending on how much text this text view has. And of course we have our text here, it says new, but since we've learned about the string XML file, let's go and create our own string here that will then reference it to show the text we want to show. Okay, so we're going to call this my text, and inside of my text I'm going to say I love this. Save. We go back to our activity main XML, and now we're going to go ahead and reference our strings here. So we're going to add strings slash, going to my text, as you can see it's here. Just click on that or enter, and there it is. And if you go back to design, it should say now, let's go to our dimensions here, our first one. I'm going to create a new one, so say dimen, going to say text size. I'm going to make it 17 SP. Save that, and we go back to our main here. We can say then Android text size at dimensions. We can then say text size, it's there, just enter. And if we open here, it's rendering, it should change. Great. Now let's go ahead and give our text view a different ID. And you see here, all of our views or all of our buttons or text views, and we'll talk about those in Android, they all have to have an ID. Now the reason they have to have an ID is so that we are able to reference that particular view, in this case a text view, in our code, in our Java code. Because the whole idea here is to connect the Java code and our views and our XML files. And the way we do that, always, you notice there's always an ID. And the way you create an ID, you just say Android colon ID is equal at plus ID slash, and then you give whatever ID you want. In this case, Android Studio gave us this text view ID here. We can change to whatever we like. Let's call it my text view ID and save that. Now, if we go to our main activity here, inside our own create function, because this is where everything is instantiated, everything is set up when our app runs. If we go here and want to reference this text view here to do whatever we want to do, we then say here text view, because that's a text view class. Okay, and we name it, let's say my text is equal to, and then we say find view by ID and press enter. And inside of this find view by ID, it takes an ID of the view we want to connect to. And how we do that, remember, we go to R, because that's our resource file, which controls all of the IDs that are created in our project. So we say r.id.myTextViewID and semicolon. Now you will right away notice there's a problem here. The problem here is saying, well, there's some incompatibility happen here. Well, it so happens that the find view by ID, it just returns a view, just an abstract view. Well, in this case, we're talking about a text view. That's why in Java, you will have to cast it. And you can say then here, text view, so that now it knows, oh, you're talking about a text view, not just any view. Okay, so we have our reference in my text here. Now, if you want to go ahead and change dynamically that text view we created here, this text here, change to something else when we run our code, what we do, since we have a reference of a text view here, which really is just referencing this text view here, which is, if we go to design, is this here. It says, I love this. We just go ahead and say my text dot set text, and we can put whatever we want here. Hey, you changed, and save. If we go ahead and run this app, so go ahead and click run, and I have already started our Genymotion emulator here, which I recommend you always do All right. Now the other thing, once it starts running our device, it asks you here to choose. And you see here about it says use same device for future launches. I always check these. That way it doesn't have to show me, okay, go ahead and choose a device. It just goes and picks up a device that it's running and applies everything and just runs the app. Okay, so okay. Should run here in a minute. You can see here, it's initializing everything. And there it is. Hey, you changed. Wonderful. Now let's go ahead and change this to something else. And so say, wow, this is really cool. Save and run again. And whoa, this is really cool. Wonderful. Congratulations. So as you can see, it's very easy to create our own views. Let's put this down. The most important thing, you always want to have an ID so that we are able to reference in our Java code. And inside of our Java code, we instantiate a TextView class, and then we pass in the ID. So we go ahead and find the ID, the view ID, TextView ID in our case here, and then we just set that text view to whatever we want. Now go ahead and play in this app. Just change names, different text, and run your app so that you get familiar and used to changing things. All right, congratulations. I'll see you in the next one.